DreamChasers. People who not only dream, but have the audacity to make them happen. Visionaries who will stop at nothing to achieve their goals. To inspire and encourage. Welcome to DreamChasers. We will not die with our dreams.
Hi, I'm Michael Mullins, and I'm a dream chaser. I believe everyone was born with abilities and talents, but the difference between people who achieve and don't achieve sometimes is access to opportunity and information. Here at Archangel, our motto is we will not die with our dreams. So this podcast is to inspire and encourage dream chasers to have the audacity to actually make these dreams happen. With that said, let me introduce you to Nick Phillips and Ola Bakey of Economic Street. Hi guys.
Hi, how you doing? Hey, how's it going?
I'm good, thank you very much. So just start off by telling me who you are and where you come from. Start with Ola.
Cool. Ola, originally from Nigeria. Moved to the UK when I was 9. Sort of always growing up in southwest London, thereabouts. I went to uni where I met Nick and yourself, studied economics, so that's my background. Also did a master's in that at Cambridge.
Nice.
And then I qualified as a chartered accountant. I trained and qualified as a chartered accountant. And yeah, that sort of just brings me to where we are today.
Nick?
Yeah, so I'm Nicholas Edwin, born and raised in South East London, Lewisham. Same as Ola, I went to University of Kent, where I also studied economics, where I met yourself and Ola. After that, I went on to Queen Mary University of London, where I'd done a master's in finance, and now I currently work in the city for the London Stock Exchange.
Nice. So before we get into Economic Street and what that is about, I want to ask you, what is your dream and how do you intend to fulfill it? So what's your vision? And give me like the final end goal and then what you want to achieve in the next 5 years. I'll start with you, Nick.
So my dream currently is to be, first and foremost, a great husband and father. So then I'm married and have a little one. But yes, it's to ultimately grow Economic Street. Right. So this is what me and Ola have been working on for the last, say, 7 months. Our long-term goal is to make it one of the leading platforms for financial education.
Yeah.
So that's providing education, say, not just to, we basically want to break down finance to the everyday man and woman.
Yeah.
I said our motto is bringing the city to the streets.
Right.
So we want everyone to be able to have access and a decent understanding of basic financial needs. So one of our long-term goals is to then work and say, I don't have to work full-time at the London Stock Exchange anymore. Yeah. I can work full-time along with Ola to bring out our products. First, we're starting, you have to grow first, we're starting locally, but then bigger picture is that we want to grow nationwide.
Okay. You?
My dream ultimately is all about empowerment, just empowering people to harness their full potential and use the gifts, God-given gifts, to make a difference in and to the generation that they're in. So for me, that picture looks very different depending on what I put my hand to. So for now, it's Economic Street, which is about financial education and education empowerment to make sure that you or other people have the ability to protect or better themselves financially. Long term, that could look different depending on other things, and I've got an interest in other areas, primarily healthcare. Just because of my experiences growing up, I suffer from a condition called sickle cell disease, and I'm an advocate to just raise awareness for that. And so for me, again, empowering people to understand what the condition is and how we can help those who suffer from it to have a better quality of life is another thing that I'm interested in doing going forward. And like I said, Economic Street for us is just the beginning. And who knows where this can go, but ultimately the whole goal and the whole mission is to empower people.
Right. That's the ethos behind the whole thing. So what is the plan for the next 5 years, would you say? Where do you see yourself in 5 years? What is that 5-year goal? Because obviously that's not the end goal, but in 5 years, where do you want to have maybe expanded to, or what do you want to what you want to have got into in terms of economic street?
With Economic Street, in the next 5 years, is to not only have a national reach but also an international coverage.
Wow.
To have online courses, to have literacy books and materials in bookstores online that people can purchase and use to educate themselves, and also just have basically a platform that we're allowed to speak on about these issues and others. In terms of other things further afield, I have, like I said, healthcare is one of my biggest things. I have an interest in going back to Africa, where I'm from. I've already tried to venture into that market. Invest in
what type of things?
More infrastructure. So we have an infrastructure deficit across the African continent. By infrastructure, I mean your basic amenities like energy, housing, railways, transportation, all that kind of thing. So that's what I'm looking at long term going forward, and not just Africa in general, but anywhere that God happens to call me to.
So you can't be researching how to get into it, what to do.
Exactly.
See, mine's slightly different to Ola. I think for me, a driving factor definitely at the moment is my son.
I was actually going to ask you what drives you, but thank you.
That's what. So for me, it's being able to say with Economic Street to go in it, but giving him a lasting legacy.
Right.
So in the sense of, if he decides he wants to carry this on, it's an opportunity for him to carry it on.
Right.
Or basically, it's opening doors. I think one of the things that, especially guys that go into uni, I think what we struggle for is opportunities. In the sense of, there's not a lot of doors. I say we all went to uni, all of us got relatively good grades, but
some better than others.
Yeah, some better than others, but that's a different story. But in terms of then, once you've left university, you're chucked out into the world wide web. I'm not saying that we want things handed to us on our plate, but you feel like you've invested in your education, you've worked hard, and you want to have opportunity to be able to fulfill what you want to do. So for my son, it's for, if he wants to go the university route, I can help guide him the university route, but I can say, give him a map and say, obviously he still has to make his own decisions, but guide him towards what he wants to do. But then also, if he doesn't want to go to university, give him the skills and tools to say he wants to continue what we do, or if he wants to venture out on his own. So it's about building legacy, educational legacy, but also wealth creation. Because we need to
generational.
Yes, it's saying that's what we need to do especially as a black community. There's not a lot of generational wealth creation and passing down. That's what I'm saying, and that's what's guiding me at the moment, one of my driving factors.
Right. So you're driven by health. You're driven by helping people. You're driven by helping people and building something for your family and for people, in your situation and in your community. Okay. So what obstacles have you faced individually again in your dream chasing? Because obviously you haven't reached the end of the dream. You're at the beginning. You're starting now. So what were the greatest obstacles in the beginning stages of, say, creating Economic Street or the other stuff that you're into?
For me personally, doubt was one. So we live with a lot of fear. We doubt our abilities. These create a lot of insecurities to make you think that number one, is it going to work? If it, like, how are people going to react to it? Are you going to do you know your stuff? You actually doubt your intelligence.
That's true.
Even though
you got the degree, and you're like,
does that make sense?
Does that apply to the real world?
Exactly. Even though you've done all this training for like 5 to 7 years, are you actually confident in being able to execute? So that was one of the major factors for me. And it's still overcoming that. It's not like it just disappears overnight. It still can raise at the end.
Niggling insecurity
at every stage. There's that doubt. Am I actually good enough to do
correct? Or is it actually going to? For now, so it's moved over from am I good enough to is it going to work? Do you understand? So there's always something along the line.
There's always something.
And then the second one is my health challenges. It's not been easy to juggle Economic Street and the other things that I sort of I'm busy with along with my health, because ultimately that is still something that I have to contend with on a day-to-day basis. So I think for me those have been the two main challenges so far.
And we'll come back to how you're overcoming them in a minute, but tell me some of your biggest obstacles.
I think the obstacle in itself was starting Economic Street. I think that's always the fear of the unknown.
Right.
But as they say, things that make you uncomfortable is usually a positive thing.
Right.
So I think that was the biggest obstacle for me. Is like when I sat down with Ola to discuss it. We've had many a conversation. I'm like, especially with me having a son and family, it's been like, well, I can't invest all of this time for you. Like, it's been because I say it's a partnership, so we want to be on equal footing. But it was very juggling in my head. Do I go for this 100%? Do I? Because I'm saying I want to commit fully, but it's like
sometimes
there's other responsibilities. So it's being on an equal footing. So it's judging what I'm doing with my personal life, but also with this. So that was a big obstacle for me, as in feeling, can I do this with my other responsibilities, and say juggling, going to work, picking up my son, putting in time for Economic Street. It's a big juggling act. So that was a big obstacle for me to think.
Can you actually commit to start?
Exactly. They say along with the fears of, am I actually doing the right thing? Is it with what I'm saying logical, etc. But just being able to actually do it in the first place, it was a big hurdle for me. So we've had many conversations of back and forth with it, but then we've talked to each other, talked to God, and it's something we both want to do.
So finding that balance was difficult. I'm assuming it's still difficult.
Of course, it's still difficult.
And it's a continuous
process, especially now for myself. As in him just about to start nursery, so it's going to be even more difficult. But it's something we've discussed, something I'm prepared for, and I say you just got to put the work in.
And is it also just understanding each other and creating? I think communication is like the biggest thing. Like it helps that we have been friends for about 11 years now. But at the end of the day, you're still in business with somebody, so it's about just having open channels of communication and just making allowances for each other. So I think that's just the understanding. It's knowing that we're working towards a long-term vision. So yes, in at the beginning phase or in the short term, it might seem, oh wow, okay, how do we sort of, with our very busy lives, make this work? But it's ultimately knowing that down the line, hopefully things do change, circumstances do change, and it does make it.
That's one of the short-term goals. That's one of my short-term goals. As I said, I can produce output somewhere else. And give, that's another, I think, a balance. That's one of my short-term goals at the moment.
So how do you, obviously, I have a motto that you really shouldn't do business with friends, although I have. But how do you set the right boundaries to make sure that there's almost a balance in your friendship and your business? How do you?
That's what I'm saying. We've had, where Ola said, that's clear. Communication is very key. We've sat down beforehand. We've had discussion, put things in place to say business and pleasure, to basically draw the boundary lines.
Right. So
we have actually had that discussion. But I said, when you mix friends, business and money,
family.
It's true. It becomes a different story. So I think we're all hitting the nail on the head. Communication is key. As I said, that was one of my fears about even going into this, because I knew my circumstances were different to his. It's like, well, I can't. Can I give what you need, sort of thing? And we had those conversations to make each other feel comfortable. So I think that's where you have to be clear in what you want.
So before I get to what helps you to overcome these struggles continuously, what has been your lowest point in what you're in this dream chasing, in this whole thing that you're trying to do?
I think it's, for me personally, it's you launch it, and then maybe in your head you're thinking, right, this is just going to fly and take off immediately. You're going to have people like knocking on your door, chasing you for business. Completely different. So the reality was so far different. Like, we're still having to hustle we're still having to bang on those doors. Doors are still being shut in our face, and it's not been easy. Especially then for me personally, I'm putting all my time now and focus into Economic Street currently. So I'm not actually working. I'm not holding down a salary job at the moment. So I'm having to rely. I've had to cut down on my living standards and make sacrifices. And that's the difficulty. It's the ongoing difficulty to say, right, okay, do you really believe in this? If so, then how far are you willing to take it, and how far are you willing to go to make it work, given all these other things that's happening? But given that, money You have to, you have to manage money very, very carefully, and you sometimes, it's all of money is consciously always on your mind and thinking how you're gonna make ends meet. So, I think for me, that's
So it's not really a lowest point; it's a succession of doubting
yourself. Yeah, but I think the lowest point was literally launching it and thinking, right, it's out there now.
And we should be getting calls tomorrow.
Yeah, and the reality was so different.
Okay. Yeah.
I think a little similar to that. My lowest point, I wouldn't call it the lowest point, but it's that realization is you still got a lot of work to go. Just because
you got the limited company, just because you got the logo on the website.
Technically, that's actually the easy bit.
Yeah.
That's actually the easy bit. As you said, it's then the next stage, as I said, we've banged on this emailing certain companies, email saying we want to go into schools, emailing these guys. I said, we've seen some where we've chased the schools and we send the email and they don't even look at the email and stuff like that. So you have to be persistent. You have to be prepared for the knockbacks, but then be persistent and keep going. So
all the ones that even tell you straight to your face, spam, delete.
So you've got to be prepared for all types of reactions.
No, it is that, and that's the thing. And the thing is, as I said briefly, just with the conflict, as I said, with all those circumstances. And I know what he's putting in to get into this, and that was what I know about it was a conflict with myself. It's saying I have not sacrificed that because I can't. So I need to make it work for myself and my family, but also I want to make it work for him and the sacrifices that he's putting in to get this up and going.
So give me some practical examples of when you overcame these situations that you have talked about, because I think your son drives you. Your health and your ambition drives you, and your ambition drives you. But give me some practical examples where you've had to employ, some positive thinking or speaking things into existence, or however you do it. Give me some practical examples of that.
Ooh, wow.
Well, even last 2 weeks ago, we went to a motivational seminar,
right?
Which we found very inspiring.
Just to keep us
going, and then we used it. That two things. It kept us with that motivation. But also it was a networking opportunity as well.
Right.
And then that's the next thing for us actually, you saying that, we need to go and chase the opportunities that came from that as well, just as another reminder. But just saying, that was 2 weeks ago, we went to a motivational seminar, which was very great, very inspiring. We met people from all different walks of backgrounds of life. And it was also a networking opportunity to promote what we do.
And it's also holding on to the little victories. So the feedback from clients, individuals that we've helped and supported or provided education to. Those are sort of the moments that make you know that what you're doing
is... No, I'll give you an example. We done a lesson in Forest Hall Boys in London. We was giving them personal finance tips and budgeting skills, and the teacher actually afterwards got in contact with me about a week after, and so one of the pupils came, he cut his hair, fresh trim, spoke to his mum about the ISAs that we spoke about, and started to invest. Basically, because he's underage, he has to get signed off by his parents. But he went to his mum, and he changed it. He kept saying, "Miss, I want to be like these two guys that came in."
Right.
So that was a big moral victory. There weren't no monetary terms in terms of when we went into that school, but getting that feedback, we've changed. He's 15. We've changed a 15-year-old's life. So that was a big.
One of my mottos is you can't be what you can't see. So definitely, I think what you're doing is great because, a lot of children, we can look at them from the outside and think, why are they doing this? Why are they doing that? But a lot of children can't see anybody who looks like them, who has done something other than what is,
I think that's what the teacher said to us. She said that he found us relatable.
Right.
And then especially for me, because I'm from that borough.
Yeah.
And he saw what I had done, and what I'm doing.
Yeah.
He took it as great inspiration, and hopefully hopefully he lives up to what he said he's going to do. We can't control it, but to know that we made a change and inspired another pupil, another child, is a great benefit.
And that leads me greatly into my next question. Who is your greatest inspiration?
Wow, what a question. Greatest inspiration. I don't know how to answer that. Stumped. For me, I think increasingly being on this journey, I've really begun to appreciate bought my parents Ceviche.
I'm about to say that.
So for me, I grew up in Nigeria for the first 9 years of my life. I saw my parents, they're both medical doctors, but they had a vision for bringing healthcare into a very remote and rural area. So they set up their own hospital.
Wow, in Nigeria?
In Nigeria.
Wow.
But it was, became employees of people and then gave it all up.
Wow.
To move over here and emigrate here and start literally from the bottom, below the bottom.
Wow.
So I've seen that, I knew asking them, I've heard the challenges that they had to go through, even setting up that hospital, whilst, we didn't even have our own home. We didn't have a place to call our own home, we were renting.
Wow.
So there's been a lot of sacrifices they've had to make, and I think it's made me not only appreciate their story and the journey they went to, but it's also made them be able to support me.
Right.
It's made it easier for us to relate because, typical African households, it's all about getting an education, getting a good job.
Yeah.
That's it. Not become an entrepreneur. So this is a very
So they were actually able to relate and say, okay, we see where you're coming from. We actually put that in you.
Yeah, and also have the patience.
Right.
Because it's been a process. It's been a very long journey. When we first started to conceive this idea, it's probably about 18 months ago now.
Yeah, 4 years, true.
So,
and how much time did you spend planning before you actually spent any money or committed any finances?
Many months.
Because we had different ideas and different creations and different avenues
Right.
where we wanted to go, and as I say, it was changed
and executed.
So
it was first doing pilot research studies, so okay, maybe do a podcast here, do a mini talk here, see how people react to it, see how people engage that, okay, come back, what was the feedback, see how we can fine tune it, until we then sort of got to a place we're now comfortable with and saying, right, okay, it's time to put it out to the market. So yeah, it's been
So you did a good year of market research, and you actually did stuff, you actually put out stuff in that time.
Yeah.
So
tasters.
It wasn't just, okay, let me, Google something, you actually put out some feelers. Okay. Nick?
See, I know it's a cliche, but it really is like my mum. Say my mum came over here from Jamaica as a young person, and she raised the four of us and of my other siblings, and to see the many jobs my mum did to say it work. As I said, she done a lot to make sure. I said when we knew food on the table. Because growing up where I am in that area, you saw a lot, and I think that's where I got my determination from. I think,
right,
and that instilled in me a work ethic.
Right.
Because then I've seen my mum work 2 jobs, and you come and tell her, but then in that 2 jobs, she still put food on the table, made everything ready for me and everything else, and looked after me and my siblings. She's been a big motivator.
Okay, so bearing all this in mind and where you are now, we appreciate that you're at the beginning of your journey, but yet you still achieved a lot in your time. What advice would you give to your, say, 15-year-old self? You're in year 10, you're about to do your GCSEs, and you could speak to that person right now, and it would change your destiny. So whatever you told that 15-year-old, he could then put it in action, and it would put you obviously in a different position to where you are now. Because I say, if I knew what I knew now 10 years ago, I'd probably be a millionaire. Not because I'm so great, but because I understand the way I work and the way my mind works. So I would have been able to put myself in a position to achieve a lot more had I known that 10 years ago. So what would you say to your 15-year-old self?
That's a good question. For me, it's not be arrogant. Not in a way. I think that's a real question. I think when I was that age, I was getting good grades, but it was always enough. So I never.
You didn't push.
I didn't push. Yeah, there was that. I was like, oh, I'm getting the good grades anyway. I'll go to college, get them, and they say for me, my first year at university, I actually failed.
Wow.
And that was a big kick up the arse, as they say, excuse the language. That's it, because I've never had that feeling of failures. I always done enough to get by, so it'd be alright, and that was what started to drive me in terms of the educational sense. But also, for me, if I was 15 again, I was quite entrepreneurial at that age.
Okay.
That's a bit of a wheeler and dealer in school.
What did you say that was legal?
Nothing illegal. Honestly, after that day, it's all legal. But I think I drove that out of myself and just went
What drove that out of you?
I think teachers, to be honest,
The system.
because they say you need to get these grades, you get these grades,
You go to college.
you go to university, and basically I followed that path.
Right.
And I think not to deter anyone, because I think university is a very good experience, and for life, as I said, that failing my first year and just meeting it was taught me good life skills. But I think it also teaches you how to be a perfect employee, because not everyone should have to be an employee. Like you say, you start off, you go to school, you go to college, you go to uni, you go get a job, and you work your way up that job field. Which don't get me wrong, because if that's you,
that's fine.
then that's fine. But not everyone wants to follow that path. And they said you don't have to always be educational. If you're quite vocational, to think about things. How can you develop that into a business?
So you would have made sure that you had a vision and that you stuck to it.
Yeah, and I think not even that. Yeah, the vision key. But I think also saying that it's okay to be educational, but it's okay to think outside the box as well. I think you could basically, I would say, use the education as a safety net.
Right.
Because you can't be like, well, I know I'm good at these subjects, I'm good at this, but let's test the water somewhere else. Let's push yourself and push those boundaries and see where it takes you. And I think that's what happened, what's going on with Economic Street now at the moment. Actually, at least we can say we tried. God willing, it will succeed. But it's that now we can say, well, we've tried. So when you go up in life and have doubts, well, I could have done this, should have, would have. Now we're going for it and see where it takes us.
So don't be arrogant. And actually, you're saying I should have pursued my dreams when I was 15.
I think so. In terms of other attributes that I was good at, I could have pursued that. But as you get told, you need to get these grades, you need to do that. That kind of gets drummed into you, and you just follow that chain of command. You don't have to always. Life is not a straight road. So they're saying, so they map it out to you like you're following this straight road. But as we all know,
you don't have to go that way.
There's very many bumps and hurdles in life.
True.
So if life was straight, it would be easy for everyone.
That's true.
So I think that's what I would tell myself.
Okay.
Yeah, for me, I completely agree with that. I was going to say that you shouldn't think that formal education is the be-all and end-all. It's not. And I think for me, again, that was the mistake I made, thinking, because I had good grades and then I had my own kick off the backside. My A-levels when I didn't do as well, which then made me more determined when I went to university. So for me, and I was an entrepreneur as well, growing up, but I pigeonholed myself very early, thinking, I first started off thinking I'm going to be a doctor like my parents, so I did all the sciences. By the grace of God, I ended up in economics, which was more of a natural fit for me and put me back to my entrepreneurial beginnings. But ultimately, that time in school is for you to really start understanding yourself, your own makeup, not just listening to what the teachers are saying, this is what you should do later in life. No, you need to figure out what your skills, what your skills, what your talents are. We'll have many, but you need to know how all that fits together to form a picture for what your life story and your life work is supposed to be. So I think that's what people need to start. They need to go on a journey of discovery. That's what I call it. Right. This is what I'm good at. Maybe I'm an artist. I'm creative. Maybe I'm scientifically driven. Maybe I'm more of someone that can be a coach or so whatever it is. Find out
what makes you tick.
What makes you tick. What makes you want to get out of bed. And from that, start looking for the avenues that you can basically use your skills and use your talents and begin to hone them, because it's a process. You have to, talent, it's not enough to just be talented. You need to make that talent work, and it's hard work.
But real quick, I think what's also missing in that is guidance. So I think
find a mentor, you're saying?
If that's what's necessary, I think, because it's not like, for example, coming from where I came from, is always got told just to go to school, do good,
just
and get good grades, and that. That's no, say my parents are older generation Jamaican parents, so there's no fault, but there was the lack of knowledge in the sense of get good grades, but what for? That's to what end? You can't just get good grades for the sake of getting good grades. So I think there needs to be guidance for these kids, because even in school, the quiz advisor. Why am I knowing more than a quiz advisor and I'm 15 years old? Does that make sense? That doesn't make sense. coming to give me advice. I know more than so. I think, God, and the thing is, that's with school, but also as well. Now I've been through the system as a parent to give to my son, but even like my nephews, nieces, anyone. I think guidance is a key because you need someone to, as in, to tell you how to kind of fulfill that potential.
You need access to information. Okay, so before I round this out, quickly, I want to know what are the top 3 lessons you've learned in the totality of your journey thus far. This doesn't have to be necessarily related to economic street. It could be related to your health, it could be related to your children, your wife. I said children, my prophecy. So yeah, top 3, really quickly in a minute. Top 3 lessons you've learned.
Care about the journey, care about the process. You're gonna know it. 2, don't sell yourself short. You're capable of much more than you think you are. So, and I always say, like my mentor says to me, if your dream doesn't scare you, it's not big enough though. Right. So get more. And finally, make sure you're helping people with whatever you put your hand to.
Wow.
That's the key.
I like that one. Yep.
For me, it's like coming out of your comfort zone.
Yep.
You need to, if you say things are comfortable and moving along nicely, it's not challenging enough.
Yep.
If something's making you think, oh my god, is this the right thing to do?
Yeah.
It's usually, that's a part of growth. You need to come out of your comfort zone to grow.
Yeah.
That's one of them. Don't be put off by setbacks. You'll get knocked down, but there's ways to get around that and to pursue it. And for number 3, be persistent. I'm quite a persistent person.
Right.
So that's a bit like number 2, I guess. Just to keep going. Like that's one of my goals. I said, you lot know how I am. I'm quite a persistent person, and if I want something done, yeah. So that's definitely one of them.
Okay, so my last question is, what do you want your legacy to be, or what do you want on your epitaph? What is it going to say? It sounds a bit morbid, but
it's a very good question. That's something I really need to think of. Right now, I mean, if I was to answer that off the cuff, it would be like something along the lines of, he helped make a difference.
okay.
For me, I think it's a bit too deep to think that far, but definitely for me, wealth creation.
I know it's the wrong create wealth.
Full stop, exclamation mark. And then we can think about, that is a bit too morbid for me thinking of the, but I definitely want to be a creator of wealth and guidance.
Fantastic. Well, guys, thank you very much for coming on. And do you have anything to plug? Do you want to give your details to let everyone know how they can reach you, how they can talk to you? I'm sure you'd be willing to have a chat with anybody, of course, who wants to investigate what.
I mean, we're out there on the web. You can find us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn. Just Google us, Economic Street, or just go to the website www.economicstreet.com and you can get a hold of us. And just get in touch. We're always happy to hear from you if you have any questions.
Nick, final word?
I just echo on the sentiments, take a look, go find us out there. We're here, I say we're very approachable. Saying we're on the social media handles, so if you've got questions, we'll feed back and we'll answer emails or Insta questions. So just take a look and hit us up.
Alright, thanks very much. First episode is a wrap.